Welcome to the Brewtiful Game. As always, I'm Blake here with Ferris.
Hola.
And Ron.
What's happening?
And on tonight's episode of the Brewtiful Game, if you haven't heard it by now, you clearly live under the footy rock, as there's finally been a manager change at Manchester United. Is finally the word? I think finally sacked, that there was a change. It seems like they had that waiting in the wings. We'll tell you all about the week that was for Manchester United. And oh, by the way, they played a few games since as well as a game the new manager has played. Then we'll talk the title race as one club wins this weekend while the two others lose and drop points in the race for the top spot. And then, of course, we will go over all the rest of Premier League action from match week 10 and our 2-minute drill. Halftime whistle will usher in the Casado of the catfish in Ron and the Ten Hag tall man wanting a Reuben in Ferris, as they share with us all.
That was on the spot, too. Moments before we recorded.
Sometimes those are the best. And it's there. They're going to share with us all the news that's fit to drink and yet another edition of Ron's Beer News with a friend. Then coming out of the half, it's the playoffs. In this edition of...
You gotta say it correctly.
Oh, sorry. I thought that was for the when we actually got to the section.
No, you got. Come on, you got to get the people a little bit.
Well, in this upcoming section of the LeagueA's roundup, we're going to talk playoffs. Playoffs. Oh, that'll never get old.
Never.
I don't know why we haven't downloaded that.
Who was that? Was that Dick Vermeil?
Yes, wasn't it? Yeah.
Was it something Vermeil? Right?
Giant, was he coaching the Giants at the time?
Jets?
Jets?
No, yes, they don't ever make the playoffs.
Oh, no, I just need to add that to our soundboard desperately.
Playoffs?
But we're going to talk the NWSL playoffs starting this weekend, and we're going to give you an update on the first round of MLS playoffs. But first, our beer. Well, gentlemen, I think I texted you guys the other day. I was hanging out at the German sausage place.
Jim Mora.
Jim Mora.
Like Dick Vermeil for
I don't know. Sounded right though.
It did.
But I went to our famous, our favorite German sausage joint because I took my daughter to a friend's birthday, and it was at one of those giant like trampoline parks, which they should open those for adult nights because, dude, they had the pits where you fall in the foam squares and you fight each other with like the American Gladiator bow staffs with this. Oh my, dude,
cool.
Get like a row of kegs and charge an entrance fee for adults and just go have a blast. But the German place was near, but so we went there for lunch afterwards, but right around the corner, there was a place called Roly Poly, a Polish grocery store and bakery. And I was like, I've seen this a few times. I know there's a large Polish contingent here in Connecticut. Ron, it's very similar to like that vibe when you're living in PA and like you can just run to a bunch of little ladies that don't speak, they're just speaking German, right? Well, same thing here. Like you'll just hear Polish like all over the place. And so I was like, we should check that out. It says they have a good bakery. Let's get stuff for like breakfast or dessert night or something. We'll do a movie night. And we went in, and it was like being in Europe, and you step into like a little grocery store where you go, I logically know what everything is, but I feel very out of place here because I don't quite know what everything is. And I would say if there were 40 people in this smallish grocery store, 4 of us were speaking English, and that includes the 3 of us in my family. Everybody else was like just super Polish, obviously. I mean, to the point you're like, I don't like, you even look, I don't feel like I am in the States at all. It's a cool place. And I mean, the lady behind the counter, we were asking about like all these pastries and stuff. She was like, could you please talk to me in Polish? I'm having a hard time explaining anything. But it was really good. But they had a beer section. And I had this gut instinct, these 2 old men, I just wanted to go hang out with them. They're like 70s, maybe early 80s, pushing a cart. And I swear there's like, and these beers all come in like 4 packs, and there's like 32 cans in their cart. And I just want to be like, hey, new here. What should I get? But I didn't. But I wish I kind of had. I wanted to go hang out with those dudes. Like they just like they're gonna go have a good time. So I picked up from it took a little research prior to getting on the pod here to get the name of the brewery, but it is the Kultowy or it's Kultowy Kultowy Browar Stropolski Brewery in Zdunska Wola Lodzwiewodiship, Poland. I'm sure I ruined all of that.
Know exactly where that's at, by the way.
So I pulled up the website, which was in Polish, but it had a little option to click the UK flag. So, and I'm going to send you guys like what it looks like, just so you can see what I'm looking at. But they did it like an old timey newspaper. I think I sent you the English link. If it doesn't, when you go there, just go up to the top and click the English flag, or the UK flag. But, it is like you go to there. I sent you the sort of main one. The second link I'm going to send you, if it works correctly, is the actual history. And I was like, oh, cool. I can read a little history of this brewery. Oh, no, I can't because we don't have an hour. It's War and Peace over here. But it's like it's in depth. I'll just read the very beginning of it. The traditions of Zdunska Wola brewing are much older than the history of the town, which was granted municipal rights in 1852. The mention estate of a brewery, and mind you, this is being probably Google translated into English, just if it sounds weird, but the mention estate of brewery in the Zdunska Wola dates back to the end of the 17th century in the courtyard, 1699. The brewery is sewn with sheaves and soon into the old sheathing. The door is on wooden covers, an iron bar. It's all written in like Middle English, which I think is wild that it got translated into Middle English. But there's like all these wild descriptions they found of writings about like from 1780, a register of all the movable and immovable things that are in the brewery and stuff. So they have like a lot of information on it. But it's really cool. I mean, something definitely put in the town. The brewing traditions of the town, 1699 is the brief description of a brewery. And they've got like dates, 1780, 1788, 1892, where there's just all this really important stuff of what's happening with the brewery. So I wish I could go more into what it is or like, I know Zenon Anstad died on April 15th in Berlin. It says on the front, I guess he was like one of the descendants of the folks that ran this brewery at some point. But this is their PRL series, Miodowy, Miodowy honey beer. Let's get this here in the
nice. Cool.
Yeah, it's got the old good look. What do you call that, Ron? What is that? The Grolsch type top with like the metal.
Oh yeah.
You know the it's not
the top.
Yeah. You got like flip the top open. So I have no idea anything about this other than it is a beer made with honey, made with Polish tradition and brewery technique. And you know it's good when it's spelled technique with TECHNIQUE. That's fancy. 4.8% alcohol by volume. I'm excited to try this. There was a lot of Polish beers in there that I was like, it was just luck of the draw. I grabbed two different ones. I got this one and I got a wheat beer as well.
Heck yeah, man. Their site you sent us is you have to share that. It's interesting. There's a whole thing on history and gallery. You can watch like YouTube videos and all sorts of stuff. So
the history's intense thow. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah. That's
like a book you're trying to read, but their front page is like set up like a old newspaper or not. It's like newspaper, but it's broken out into these, like it reads like that, or it's broken out. You have a picture of some old dude, then it goes down that, and then the art of brewing, and it, has a fermenter that and it just kind of goes. It's kind of neat.
It's cool seeing those old copper fermenters. I love the picture of Zenon Anstad, the representative of a well-known family of EDOS brewers who struggle with the basic material for beer production, water. But it shows like the classic taps, the way they are like on the wall. It's pretty rad. And the products are distributed throughout the country. And apparently at Roly Poly Grocery Mart in New Britain, Connecticut.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, I love it.
I'm stoked to try this one.
That's a lightning closure.
Mm-hmm.
Also, going to pour that in the ye old Brewtiful Game glass. Haven't cracked this bad boy out in a while.
Yeah, I got one as well. Ours is from the far, far reaches of Baldwin Park in Orlando. from Tactical Brewing, who just celebrated their 6 years on Saturday, and they did it in such a fun way. They had these knights in full armor and gear sword fighting each other in this pen in the middle of the street down there. They're just wild, but good bunch. I stopped in last Wednesday. Just wanted to do some emails and have a brew, so I just kind of sat in the corner. But they had, I missed this drop somehow, but it's La Teardrop. It is a Mexican lager.
Ooh, I do love a craft Mexican lager. That's awesome.
I do too. So I had one of these. Ron, there you go.
Gracias. Oh, good can art.
Yeah, and if you like turn it like a certain way, how they do it here, I don't know, but yeah, no,
The teardrop is shiny.
Oh, that's cool.
And yeah, very, very good. I forgot to actually get a 4-pack. So then a few days later, a friend of the pod, Britt, was going to stop by and wanted to see if we wanted if we wanted anything from the brewery, because they had a few other drops that they were doing. And I said, oh, if you can. I was in there a few days ago and I had the Mexican lager. At the time, I couldn't remember what the heck it was called. So she was kind enough to pick me up a 4-pack, so we're having it on this pod. So thank you, Britt, and congrats to Tactical Brewing on 6 years.
Woohoo.
Oh, it's Mexican lager, duh. Let's see here, 4.5 on the old ABV, which you figure. Mexican lager, 16 ounce, keep cold, drink fresh, brewed in Orlando, Florida. Pretty simple.
By the way, the kind of flip top this is in parlance is a flip top by the common tongue, but also called a grolsch, which I was about to say it's like the kind of the grolsch bottles have. I forgot the name of the grolsch beer is named for the flip top.
There you go.
Yeah.
It was making me nuts.
Originally called the lightning toggle.
Lightning toggle.
Oh, like that. The lightning toggle.
No, I'm pretty confident the lightning toggle is the fourth switch on the left that Han flicks before going into hyperspace, because that's what that sounds
Astute
like.
point, Blake.
Yeah.
Astute point.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
Yeah. Flip the lightning toggle.
Let's flip. You flip yours, we'll pop ours.
All right. Let's see if I can get this on the microphone.
Trying to think. I don't know if I've ever actually opened up one of those now. I'm trying to think. I don't.
Oh, that's a good
one.
pop.
Oh yeah. And then it just stays there. It's handy.
Oh, I did.
I'm sure I have. I just don't remember one with any sort of,
Well, I will say, like,
memory.
the initial. I mean, it's very European lagery, but man, usually you see a honey beer or whatever, and you don't really smell or taste too much of the real honey, but man, it's very prominent on the nose in this one.
Just do it out of the bottle there, Blake. Just crack her back.
Oh man. Oh, this looks so good poured in the Brewtiful Game Pilsner glass. Oh, gentlemen, be jealous of this gorgeous head retention. Look at that. Like it was slid down the frickin' bar at you.
Nice.
Oh, man. Oh, that's beautiful. That looks so good. I hate to drink it.
Ours looks a little bit darker than you would expect from a Mexican.
Yeah, it's
lager.
much more amber than I expected.
Ooh. All right, gentlemen. Look at that bad boy.
Heck yeah, great pour.
Ha ha!
Very cool.
Man. I was wondering how fresh it was going to be. I'm going to guess it was pretty fresh.
Yeah.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Launch.
Oh, good God. It's like honeybees had a baby with a beer. That's amazing.
Honey baby beer.
I mean, it's like a lot of honey flavor. That's way more than I anticipated. Dang, that's good.
Oh, no.
My can was all crushed in. I think mine's flat.
Oh. Well, here, have a
Look. Take
have
a
a
look.
snag of mine.
Oh, no.
I don't think mine was.
You've got bubbles in yours, huh?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for noticing. Oh, man.
About the same.
I wish I could get this to you guys.
There's the old bubbles.
This is interesting tasting because I've just never had such a robust honey flavor, but it's not like a when you get a good fruit beer where you're like, oh, see, this is great. It doesn't taste like the syrup, like a false fruit. Like you just get like the essence of the real thing. That's like what this tastes like, but honey.
Nice.
Yeah, it is flippin' delicious. And I'm going to go back for more.
I think
Hard to tell.
so it's kind of lagery, but it's flat.
Yeah, your can is a little busted.
So
Holes
I
in
can't.
it.
This tastes like it was right out of the chilled out of the wort is what it tastes like.
That's my rock band, Chilled Out of the Wart. We're playing Wednesday night. That is...
Mine has a little bit more body to it. A lot less wort. It is more. It drinks more like a Dos Equis than it does a Pacifico.
And it's not as big. Well, I can't really give a
fair guesstimate.
a fair.
I tell you, it was darn good in the brewery.
Sure.
This doesn't quite taste that. It's cold. It poured well, but mine then did also go a little flat. So I don't know.
I think I won this round, gentlemen.
But I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, it tastes like if you've ever homebrewed, and you tasted the wort before you fermented it.
This tastes like we homebrewed, Ron, and when it says like a half a cup of honey, screw it. Let's just put in 2 bottles. But I really do mean that in a good way. Like, you know how honey, like you eat honey, it's got that little, even that little mouth feel, that viscous. Like this is very similar. My goodness, like this would be highly dangerous on a hot day or sitting there watching some games. Woo!
Do you know what the ABV was
on this one? 4.8 ABV.
Oh, that'd be very dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, this is really good. All right, so score one for this Polish brewery, the Staropolski.
Easy for you to say.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Pulisic. I can still say that. I don't want to talk. I just want to drink this beer, but I guess I should move on to the actual meat of the show. All right, gentlemen, let's talk some footy. The big news of the week: managerial change at Manchester United, and we're gonna play this a little early. First prediction of the year goes to Blake, baby.
Oh, didn't remember. We looked it up right before the pod.
Yep. Oh yeah. Bam.
Yeah, you got it right.
So, following a 2-1 loss on the road a little over a week ago to West Ham, Manchester United sacked their manager of 2 years, Erik ten Hag. You should have called me for advice. The announcement came next day, Monday, following the match, as it was also announced that assistant coach and Man United legend Ruud van Nistelrooy would act as the interim manager. And a few days later on that Wednesday, Van Nistelrooy led United to a 5-2 Carabao Cup victory over Premier League foes Leicester City. Then by Friday, the club announced that Ruben Amorim would be Amorim. Am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would be the new head coach of Manchester United Football Club. Amorim becomes the 31st team manager coach of the Red Devils and is due to take charge this coming Monday, November 11th. And by the way, Ruud's second game in charge, he drew with a Chelsea 1-1 on Sunday. And we should say the new manager comes from I had it. I lost it.
Portugal.
Sporting Portugal.
Sporting de Portugal.
Which he just beat Man City in the Champions League 4-1.
4-1, yeah.
So the pressure's on.
Not having a good week.
For him to take Man United.
Even funnier, he said either before the game, if something along the lines of, if I win tonight, they all are going to think I'm the new Sir Alex Ferguson.
And then he won huge.
Yeah, he's listen. How his comments have been the last week, very poised, very charismatic. He talked about the process. He didn't want to leave Sporting until the end of the season, and United basically said, no, it's not going to occur. We kind of need it now. So this is where they worked out a deal to kind of start just before the international break, or kind of during the international break. Come in with 2 weeks there. I think the first game's against Ipswich, and then they get into like a Man City game shortly thereafter and an Arsenal game. But if we reverse it back a bit, Ten Hag being sacked, I don't think came as a surprise. And for me, it wasn't a surprise on the fact that first time in 2 years, I sent our group text a text that said he will be sacked this week. Can you guys ever remember a time in 2 years where I said he's going to be sacked?
I can't remember the time we all said that, but I
Correct.
don't think you ever did.
But in terms of me saying that and texting that to the group that we're in over the past 2 years, through all the ups and downs, the various talk, the all of that, it was the first time after that West Ham game where I just had that feeling. It's either or get off the pot, because you're down there in 14th, you lose to a team in 15th that you should be beating. Your away record's trash. You give up another lead. You don't score goals. Yes, it was a contentious pen at the end, but you lost again. The second worst start in Premier League history from United, and the ownership. The Ineos owner group basically said, "All right, that's enough. We either make a change now or it's not going to happen until the end of the season." And it should be noted that yes, they didn't give him a new deal going into the season. All they did was take on his third-year option.
Right. Well,
so he had signed for 2 and then took on that third-year option after they looked at other candidates. Now,
which he was one in the first.
He was. It wasn't really reported. It's
kind of,
it's kind of, it wasn't one of their top ones. Tuchel, Tuchel, Southgate, and a few others, I think, were kind of those names really out there. And then Ten Hag goes on to win the FA Cup against Man City. And okay, well, we didn't quite like everything that we saw, so let's just take this option. Now, you dumped more cash into him. You brought in some different assistant managers, and it's either now you either put up or you shut up, and they shut him up for him. Now, he's going to remind everybody, and he has a bit, and he had a pretty classy statement that he put out. But he's going to remind everybody that he won 2 things. It was laughed about a lot because he's the worst Premier League manager for Manchester United, yet he leaves with 2 more trophies and silverware than Arsenal have won in the past 2 years, and 1 more than our Arteta has won.
Weird, Arteta still has a job, huh?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's the fact. But those are also the facts that he's won more than somebody that has a job there.
Are you playing in Europa League this year, or even in Europe?
No, we're in the Europe. We're down there in 21st in the table.
Oh, okay.
Out of 36 teams. Yeah, not good. But
but still, the Manchester United having a better season than ours. That's how your math works, right?
Well, in the past 2 years, we have 2 things that we can put in the trophy cabinet. Arsenal have nothing they put in the trophy cabinet. Lovely second place finishes. Those do a lot for you. You might even get one of those things you get on your chest that says, "I did a good job at school," and it kind of hangs down. You might get that. Your technical person decides he wants to leave and go to Nottingham Forest.
A sporting director.
Sporting director, sure.
Yeah, sporting director.
Anyways, we'll go off on that different time. It was the time to sack Ten Hag. Ruben Amorim, I think's a good signing. It's exciting. It's what he's done with Sporting over the past few seasons have been I think short of just Jose, awesomeness for what he did at that club. a few years back. Actually, he did. Ruben Amorim did an apprenticeship at Man United when Jose was the manager at Man United. So he's always had a fondness for the club. He says that's where I want to be. This is where I want to be. And come November 11th, he will be there.
It's an expensive manager change.
They had to buy him out of like 8 million euros or something along those lines.
But
they
also owe Eric Ten Hag a 16 million pound severance.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's
That's about right.
Switch.
At least you didn't offer him a whole like 3-year deal and then all of a sudden do it. But
that what the 11 million US was just the release clause, not his
release
salary.
clause, and I want to say a couple mil on top to get him in the expedited time that they did.
So this is there's very expensive manager.
There's talk too of having to pay a certain package if he wants to bring like a goalkeeper coach, a sports psychologist.
He wants to bring almost all his people.
It's 3 that he wants to bring. Now, it should be stated that Ruud, Man United legend, is in charge. 2 games, a win in the cup against the second side Leicester team, who I think they play Leicester this weekend. Probably see a different side from them, and then a 1-1 draw this past Sunday against the high flying at the time Chelsea, but. You can definitely tell a weight's been kind of just extracted off the team. I don't even want to say lifted; it's been fully extracted off the team. And kind of how they're playing, the freeness at which they're playing on the pitch. The first lineup against Leicester in the cup, and then the one against Chelsea was the exact same starting lineup. In fairness, that's probably your best starting lineup. It's not what Ten Hag was trying. Hey, let's put a left back into center attacking mid. Let's do up this combo. Let's change up this combo. Let's do that. Let's do that. You're trying to find something that sticks. Ruud just going, here's our best 11. Boom, you're out. You're playing that game. You're playing that game.
Well, there's this,
and they'll probably play again tomorrow in the league.
There's a certain freedom for the interim manager, right? Because he's not in line for the gig. He can just go have fun and let the players have a bunch of fun, right?
Sure.
Which is all he could really impact in the 2 weeks time that he's been there, right? There's not like some massive tactics shift that he can make. There's not a ton that he can do other than put people in the best position he can to help them succeed.
Yeah, and
he seems to be doing
correct, and it helps. It's coming from somebody at the club that it has embodied the club, that loves the club, that during this time, and they've done this with others. They did it with Carrick when Van Gaal, I think, left. Maybe it was Jose, where Carrick took the helm for about 3 games, and then Ole took the helm there for a few when Mourinho left. And then he ended up staying for 2 years. So this has happened before. I think Ruud knew that he wasn't going to get the job, nor are you going out for it. How fast United did this, that they had something planned. It wasn't like, hey, we're sacking you. Now we don't have a plan. We don't know who to brought in. It was clearly, we know who the next one is. So, it's always, as we've said on this pod before, you can say, hey, sack that person, sack that manager. Well, who's going to come into replace that person? It's easy to say fire them. Who's going to replace them? United knew that. They made the deal quick. They paid for him, and we will see him in the dugout here in a few weeks.
But he has got problems. One of the interesting quotes I thought came out from the players saying that they hope that they kept Ruud around because they really like how much he communicates with them. And I thought it was kind of interesting and telling the players are saying that. And my gut reaction was, oh my God, if I ran Man United, I'd be like, cool. Well, then he's gone as soon as Amorim gets here because I I would say anybody that the players appreciate having around right now, the way those players have played, I would not want them to stay, because I don't think they need a huggy feely. Oh, we really like this person, but because he's got Amarim, like this is going to be rough, and he's probably getting Man United at a perfect time where you guys just kind of suck right now, and because the players just aren't coming together. I think it's a lot on the players, and so he can have a rough season, and as long as it looks like he's trying to put pieces in place, he'll get a couple of years to get, I think, the team together. I don't think with this team he has the pressure of you better be in Champions League next year. I realize like Man United that should always, but like
it's not the Chelsea pressure,
right?
Of here's the team that we expect is going to be great. Get us in the Champions League.
Yes, I think he has got some serious rebuilding to do. And I don't know. I just heard that the players were talking about Ruud that way, and I was like, I don't know, man. That makes me nervous because you just had matches where you had some players that like they were like, I'm not doing this, and then when Delot's looking like your finest player.
No, not now. He's not.
Well, fair enough.
Not this season. So not this season.
So Ferris and I are walking to an Orlando City playoff game, and we were kind of just BSing about the weekend in the league, and Ferris says to me, "I was totally fooled by Delot.
I was conned."
He's like, "That guy sucks. He is a bleep, 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 bleep." It was hilarious.
Let me go back in our group chat that we're in with Tony and Phil and read you exactly what I sent after that West Ham game, because it started off with Delot. I said, I was conned by Delot last year. He's a piece of defender who can't guard his back post and slot home an open net. Oliver is the worst. If you want West Ham to win, just say so. Ten Hag will be sacked this week. He was sacked the next day.
Don't be proud of that. I picked that at the beginning of the year. Don't make it sound like that was a good prediction by you.
I literally picked the week.
Oh,
yeah. You're welcome.
I said first out the gate.
It's the Ruud thing's interesting, and that's an interesting point for Blake. He's come out and said, I would like to stay on. He knows he's not going to be the manager. He would like to stay with the club.
And I'm not talking trash about him, mind you. It just makes me nervous to hear the players say that. Yeah. No, I get that. Now, will the new head coach, not manager, that's important here. He's not. He doesn't have the title of manager. He's the head coach, which tells you he's not the one that's really going to pull the strings like others have in the past.
Ineos,
the sporting director, and all of this are the ones. It's going to be a team.
Puppet master.
I don't know if it's going to be a puppet master, but it's going to be a team. Everybody's going to have a say in it, not just the Sir Alex of the day where what he says goes. And Gil, make this player one of my players. And goes to him, and Gil goes, yep, absolutely done. It's not quite going to be like that, which I think is fine. And that's kind of the way that things have turned in the way that the game is kind of going. He's 39 years old and coming in. So he's one of the younger ones in the league now. He famously plays a back three, a 3-4-3, and he is undefeated in the league in Portugal. He won the league last year. He just beat Man City 4-1 in the Champions League, their first loss in the Champions League in 20-some games.
Ugh, gross.
Now he doesn't, since Chelsea beat them in the final.
There you go. He came out and said, "Listen, I'm not going to be able to do that at Man United. I don't have the players and the personnel in place to play that way." So it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts. Mind you, this is Ten Hag's team. Literally 600 million pounds worth of Ten Hag's team there. So now there's very formidable players that I think will adapt well to him. I'm curious to see what De Ligt does, what Zerari does. If Mason Mount comes back fit, how he's going to play him. He's reportedly back in.
Are we actually going to ever see him again with the amount of injuries that guy's got?
But with a new, it's weird. When you get a new manager and everybody's going to be fit for now. Everybody wants to get back fit. They all want to show him what you can. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a little bit of that. Shaw. We haven't seen Luke Shaw. Was hurt all of last season. Plays in one Euro game final of the Euros and hasn't played a game yet for Man United. Like, come on. So we'll see. But I think all in all, it's a good quick decision from the team. They're not going to let this sit or linger, or will Ruud get the job, or how long it's going to go. Do you do it before the new year? Do you do it? When do you do it? Hey, no, it's like, hey, we extended the option. We gave you time to win with the team that you wanted. Now's the time. It's in the third year. You didn't get that done in the first 10 games. It's a quarter of the way through almost. Nope, you're gone. We know who we want. We went out. We got him. He's going to be in. Then we move forward. That's what happens. I'm good with it. I like the signing. So we'll see how the rest of the year shakes out with old Rubes there.
I do like him in his interviews, I will say. I like not liking Man United managers, but I do like him. Like you said, comes across charismatic. He's 38?
39.
Whippersnapper.
Oh, whippersnapper.
I don't know why you did two big headlines. To be honest, we should have just done that one. So yeah. Let's push through this next one, gentlemen. Wild Saturday at the top of the Premier League. First up, Newcastle kicked the Premier League weekend off with a 1-0 win over Arsenal. A lone Isaac goal in the 12th minute of play was enough to hand Arsenal their second league loss in as many weeks, dropping 8 points in their last 3 matches. Then it was Man City's turn to drop points, as it was the Cherries of Bournemouth, who once again took down a top-table team on the South Coast as goals from Semenyo and Evan Nilsson. I can't say it when I see it. Were just enough to hand Man City their first loss in the league of a scoreline 2-1. Finally, Brighton thought they were going to hand another title favorite in Liverpool a loss in the day, but in the course of 3 minutes in the second half, it was goals from Gakpo and Salo, which completed the 2-1 comeback over the Seagulls. So then it was Liverpool who ended up with the weekend top of Premier League table with a 2-point lead over Man City. Arsenal now in 5th, 6 points off of the top. Whew, thoughts on the title race weekend? I think for a moment we all just were like, does anybody want to win?
Yeah. What is going on?
Yeah.
Bournemouth in almost back-to-back weeks knock off.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Man City,
and Chelsea beat them
in between there. No,
on September 14th. Just saying.
Yeah. Ron's like, by transitive property.
Yeah, clearly
we're number one right now.
Clear.
Well, I think with Liverpool, what you are seeing is this team, even though Jurgen Klopp's not there right now, you are seeing what this team could have done without injuries the last couple of seasons. So they're doing pretty good right now on that front. They look great. And
also, there's a slight style of change, or a slight style change in play, right? It's not so attack,
go,
right?
Yeah. It's not Gegenpress. Was that what it was called?
Yeah.
And I also think that the team has a bit left in the tank at the end of the match that allows them to, kind of push through the results they would have drawn because they were absolutely gassed under Jurgen Klopp, or conceded and lost. Here they're a little bit more measured, a little more relaxed.
It's not counter football. It's they press to win the ball in key areas of the pitch, and then they spring quickly.
And they get numbers forward.
And they stay organized throughout the entire time.
It's a much more balanced play.
Correct. And the midfield of Gravenberg, McAllister, and I'm forgetting somebody in there, have been really, really good for them, where Klopp was experimenting a bit in that midfield last time. Sometimes you'd see Endo. Sometimes you wouldn't see Gravenberg a lot. You'd see McAllister. You see Soboslai. But they're consistent on how they're playing. You're right. They're not going ahead. They don't have a bunch of injuries. Yes, their goalie and Ali's son is hurt, but their backup's darn good. he is darn good and would probably start on most teams, throughout the league and her. And I thought they were going to lose here. I was flipping back and forth a few games. I was like, oh my God, you're going to have all three of these teams lose this weekend? What the hell? And then just in the span of boom, just like that, 2 goals, boom, boom. And that was it. I think Slot was seemingly, we're 10 games in, seemingly the perfect person to kind of slot into this role after somebody like Klopp leaves. It's, what you do that 1 year thing. The interesting thing will be what he does in year 2. Also, you have deals coming to an end. Will Salah sign again? Will I want to say Van Dijk's on there as well? Will he sign again? Those are 2 very key cogs in the wheel. That's part of their core.
If they manage to pull off winning the league this year, those guys aren't signing again. I think,
yep.
I think they'll ride off into the sunset.
Yes. Well, maybe. I think Salah could be there for life. Van Dijk, you could see he could make a switch to Real Madrid. Could still use a Van Dijk about now, no matter how old he is.
Well, they're probably still too busy boycotting the Ballon d'Or to be able to trade him right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But speaking of Ballon d'Or, as much as Pep won't admit it, injuries on his Ballon d'Or person that won, and Rodri has clearly hurt the team. No De Bruyne in there has clearly hurt the team. Those are 2 big cogs in the wheel that Man City, within a few days, a 4-1 loss to Sporting in the Champions League, and then a 2-1 loss on the road in this.
And look, and they barely pulled a draw off against a 10-man Arsenal.
They did.
So, I know
and they
they
scored very, very late. Who was it?
Yeah.
A few weeks back, they did that against a Stones goal. Wolves, right?
Yeah.
They're conceding really early and having to fight back. It's very uncharacteristic.
No, but here's the frustrating thing, right? The problem is Liverpool sits at 25 points, Man City 23, Nottingham 19. We'll get to that. Arsenal 18. Liverpool sit at the top, and the conversation still, hey, we got a race on. I think if it were Liverpool at 23 and Man City at 25 and the roles had been switched, everyone would be like, well, it's over. Man City's got it this year. Yeah. And it would just settle into and here it is.
For time.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting because that's not obviously how anyone's talking right now. I don't know if unless they're 10 points down within 2 points. Yeah, you're just like, well, those last 8 games of the season or whatever, and
the last half of the season, they don't lose a game.
Exactly.
They won the last 4 leagues. I think real quick, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, Blake, before we move on. A lot of talk about Arteta this week and how he's kind of changed the tactics of Arsenal, where it's a lot more reserved, a lot more conservative in the style of play. What's kind of been your thoughts as you've watched this?
2 words for you.
Arteta ball kind of go over the past.
No, 2 words for you. Martin Odegaard. Without him, they win 50% of the time. With him, they win 89%. I think that injury, that right there, it's yanked a lot of the creativity and stuff right out of there up front. And so Arsenal has not had to deal with a ton of injuries in the past couple of years and at critical moments. They had some not, here or there, but this is finally Liverpool was a couple seasons ago. It was oh my God, they just couldn't keep the key players healthy, all together. That's happening here right now is what I think that is. So I think that's him trying to adjust for, there just isn't another person to slot into that Odegaard position. Plenty of people that if Odegaard is subbed out even 60 minutes into a game, that they can, reform the way they're playing, get a little more defensive or whatever. But they don't have a substitution for him right now.
Also, Saka returning from injury does not look like he is all 100%. Right?
No.
So, he's He's also been quite reserved, I feel like, in his role in the team.
I will say for the lone goal in this, the icicle, a lovely, lovely ball by Anthony Gordon. Just a pinpoint cross header. Absolutely beautiful. Saka, about 2 minutes from time, at 88th, 89th, played a very similar ball. Gorgeous ball. And on the end of it was Declan Rice, I think. And he just couldn't get his header right. And it kind of just went to the side. It's those differences in a game like that, where it's those moments, those clinical finishes, where he hits that from that awesome ball by him, then it's 1-1, and it's not, we're not talking about it in this way, or hey, they this is what they do. They get the points. They see the games out. They get there. It's those small moments that can affect the game like that. And you look in their Champions League thing today, there was a penalty that decided the game against entering the league. There was possibly a penalty call on the other side where Inter's goalie came out and punched somebody in the head and missed the ball.
Yeah,
those moments in the game change things quickly, because one's called on one end, the other one's not called. That's it. Now it's 1-0, and that's the story of the game. So just like here, where that one beautiful ball by Gordon was put in by Isaac, that beautiful ball by Saka was not put in, and the game ended 1-0.
Martin Odegaard, get back soon. Cherries, though. Yeah, gonna go. Yeah, well done. All right, it is time to get us to the rest of our Premier League match week. As we move on to our 2-minute drill, we're going to ask one question and make a smart ass comment on the remaining matches. Call it our 2-minute drill. It could be a 1-minute drill because we got a haul butt. Take it away, Ron.
Well, the Tractor Boys of Ipswich, unfortunately, cannot hang on to get their first win in the league as they give up a 94th minute goal to Leicester. It ends 1-1. Ipswich, they keep getting so close.
So close.
And
I wanted them to win this so bad.
I know it.
And
when
Leicester,
do you think they're going to get their first win?
Probably against Man United on Ruben's first game after the national break.
That's a good call. I was going to say also on the other side of Leicester, just like peeling points as it goes.
Scratching, pulling, yeah.
Like they might just, I mean, they did have a couple of wins in the last 5, but like also a couple losses. It just feels like these suckers might just be safe this year.
Yeah, and I want to say all of their wins have been against all the teams below them, if I'm not mistaken, or thereabouts.
So, well, go Leicester, I guess. Every town has its ups and downs. That's a little Nottingham song for you from Disney's Robin Hood.
There you go.
Nottingham Forest once again robbed from mean old Sheriff of London as they net 3 on West Ham with once again another stiff Wood goal from our boy Chris Wood. Ladies and gentlemen, just in case you're wondering, we're on our Wood watch right now. Our Wood watch has got 8 goals at this point. So Erling Haaland only at 11. Chris Wood, take that golden boot home, buddy. We want to see that happen.
It's awesome.
Nottingham's, as we said, up to 3rd. Chris Wood tied for 2nd in Golden Boot race. Guys, what? Nottingham is winning the league, y'all.
They are staying on that blue pill, and Wood's just helping them the entire way, baby.
I mean, is this the most fun thing to come out of the last few weeks?
This is wild because their owner is like tied up in these like. He's suing people for defamation and stuff. It's a wild kind of thing. He just got a fight. He just got a 10-match ban for spitting on somebody in the tunnel. They just signed somebody from Arsenal and Edo to join their conglomerate of clubs. Like, it's wild, and yet they're up to third in the freaking Premier League. Go figure. Nuno Espirito Santo, one of the best names ever to be behind the helm, doing a great job there.
I mean, there's not much else to say.
Well, I mean, no one picked a Leicestershire prediction of Nottingham fighting for a European slot, did they?
I think so.
No, I don't think so.
Good old days. Southampton, come on down and move up to 19th as a late Adam Armstrong goal secures Southampton's first win of the season, 1-0 over Everton. Go figure. Can Southampton actually survive?
I can answer this.
Go ahead.
I can answer this. No.
That might be the best use of the 2-minute drill I've ever heard. Oh, my God.
Wolves just can't seem to get a win as they get their third draw of the season with a 2-2 stalemate with good old Crystal Palace. Fun match between 17th versus 20th, but, that's about the end of that.
Once again, a second half blitzkrieg from Tottenham poured in goals as they got a big win over Aston Villa, courtesy of a second half brace from their big number 9, Dominic Solanke. 4-1 to Spurs was the final. Tottenham now tied on points with Villa at 18th, with the Spurs in 7th and Villa in 6th, or tied with 18 points, I should say. Are they back on the upswing? There seemed to be like...
I don't know. Don't care, but it helped me beat Blake in our fantasy league this week because I had Solanke and James Madison. Yeah, 3 goals between them.
It did. I'm not sure. It's consistency, right? That's what we always say when it comes back to the Spurs, right? So,
yes.
Looking
record in the past 5 is win, loss, and win.
Well, hey, you know what?
Consistency.
That is consistent. Yep.
Lastly, on Monday Night Football, not that kind. It lived up to the billing as 2 wonder goals by the 82nd minute substitute, Harry Wilson, stung the Bees of Brentford to complete a 2-1 comeback. I turned this off at work, shut down my computer, get ready to leave, and then I get a text from Phil in our group that's like, what a comeback from Fulham. I was like, I turned it off in like the 90th. What the hell? Goals in the 92nd and 97th. And the 92nd goal that tied it up, if you have not seen it, it is a wild, like, back heel flip volley kick kind of chip that just went right over the goalie, and it was this weirdest. Wasn't really a volley. It wasn't really a scorpion kick. Wasn't really a back heel. Wasn't really a.
Yeah,
it was like this weird goal, but awesome. And then he scored a 97 with the head that was like far out and headed the ball in. So wild match. Fulham, they're doing okay this season. They are doing okay. I want to say they're in the top 10 up there in 9th, and they've been solid.
15
Brentford,
points. Yeah.
You probably could use Ivan Toney right about now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you're missing the gambler right about now.
Yes, you are.
Well, they're missing their stop scoring in the first minute and a half. That's their strategy. They need to get back.
People figured that out.
Yep.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to halftime, where it's time to turn this match over to Mr. Ron. It's time for Ron's beer news. All the news that's fit to drink.
Gentlemen, but a sad news today. Leinenkugel's Brewery in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, is going to close after 157.
What? No kidding.
Yeah.
Leinenkugel's?
Yep. Leinenkugel's, who's owned by Molson Coors.
Yeah. Is this just closing because those jerks own them? They don't.
Well, they are saying, Molson Coors is saying, that they just spent a massive amount of money fixing their canning line or improving their canning line in the Milwaukee brewery. So they are going to take 10th Street Brewing and Leinenkugel, and they're going to wrap that up into the Milwaukee Brewing so that they can can more efficiently. That's the story they're sticking to. Leinenkugel has been part of Miller Brewing Company since 1988, and it's been a cherished part of the community in Chippewa Falls. The owner, or the former owner and president of Leinenkugel's, whose family managed the brewery for 6 generations, his name, Dick Leinenkugel.
Oh, good old Dick.
Can't make that up. You should isolate that one. I am deeply saddened by the decision of Molten Core's leadership to close our Chippewa Falls brewery and home for over 157 years and 6 generations of family management. Leinenkugel's has been growing great beers in our region, in our region for legions of fans throughout Wisconsin and across the country. I feel for all the impacted employees and their family and trust that Molten Core's leadership will do everything possible to ease their pain in this challenging time.
They won't, by the way. But anyway.
Yeah. Hooray for me, screw you.
Yeah. I just don't buy it.
Yeah.
That's the crap I hate. Then just don't buy it. That was depressing beer news, Ron.
Yeah.
I have something similar, more from the area here.
Oh, I'm sorry, because it's Ron's beer news and a friend.
Yeah,
that would be me. Hello.
I was going to introduce friend, but
thank you.
You beat me to it.
Oh, sorry. In Sanford Brewing, they looking like they were going to close their doors. Financial issues and illness to some of the people involved too. They were about ready to close their 2 locations, and they were saying their goodbyes, and kind of time was starting to run out. However, they were bought or acquired by Brewlando. They are set to acquire Sanford Brewing, and they're going to try to keep it open. The first one out there in the Sanford area, and its sister location out in the Maitland area. That one started to serve about 4 years ago. The other one was back in 2016 when it started. So 8 and 4 years between their 2 breweries. But Brewlando announced, what is this, Tuesday? So a few weeks ago, or this past Tuesday, I'm not quite sure, but that they will be intending to acquire both locations and reopen at Sanford Brewing by Brewlando. It's a significant expansion for them as they just opened the winery and tasting room at Icon Park earlier this month. The Sanford Brewing acquisition will take its locations up to 4. So they're basically going to kind of keep everything there, kind of infuse some cash, and keep Sanford Brewing going, which has been a staple in both the Sanford and Maitland locations. So we've seen that recently here with Ivanhoe Park, kind of acquiring Deadwoods and their spot. They didn't, but
they didn't acquire Deadwoods. They took over the spot Deadwoods vacated.
Right. But
which I don't know is a smart thing.
I agree, but they kept a lot of the things in place in terms of the brewing, cool equipment, tapping, bar area, all of that. So
you still can't park there.
Well, no, you can't.
There's like 7 spaces.
That hasn't changed. And then in some fun news, and it's old NBA basketball season. If you haven't been paying attention,
I have not.
Okay, well, I like me some old NBA basketball, but okay. Anyways, the Orlando Magic deliver a locally sourced partnership with Crooked Can Brewing Company. Central Florida based brewery here unveils a co-branded Magic craft beer called the 6-Man Lager. So we'll have to get that on the pod here soon. I've not been out there to snag a pack, but the Orlando Magic announced a multi-year partnership with Crooked Can Brewing Company, marking the first local craft beer deal in team history. The partnership also makes Crooked Can the official local craft beer of the Orlando Magic. In celebration of the partnership announcement, Crooked Can is unveiling a new co-branded Magic Craft Beer 6-man lager that will be available at the brewery and select retailers in Central Florida. The 6-man lager will also make its debut at Kia Center on October 25th. So just a short while ago, as the Magic had their home opener against the Nets of Brooklyn, which I believe the Magic won. And the senior vice president of global partnership, JT McWalters, announced the Magic are thrilled to team up with a local favorite and establishment brand like Crooked Can Brewing. As two organizations with Central Florida roots, we have a lot in common, pride for our community, and a strong connection with our fans. With an already established Central Florida following, we look forward to growing together and amplifying our efforts in the local community.
Crooked Can set to open their newest expansion in Mineola, Florida, in early 2025.
Yeah, I saw the plans for that. Or the
So they're expanding heavily.
They're crushing it.
Yeah, no, I'm not too far from them, so I'll have to snag that pack, and we'll do it on the pod here in short time. Quickly moving on, though.
Ferris, can I just say thank you, though, for picking the bummer vibes up for your end of friend beer days.
You're welcome. I know Ron's a little sad.
No, but it's good news, though. It had to be said. But yeah, it was a good bookend.
It is.
Before you get to your next beer, I just want to give a shout out to Sanford Brewing, because they have one of my favorite things I've ever had that is just not something you get at a lot of places. So if you ever get the chance, go down to Central Florida, you visit the parks, whatever, go take the trip up to Sanford. It's a cool little old town. It's outside the tourist stuff. But Sanford used to be known as the Celery City, USA, all the celery, right? And they have a celery lager. Sounds like that doesn't taste very good. To be perfectly honest, it really isn't. It tastes like what it sounds like. However, they brew it because it is the base of the best Bloody Mary you've ever had, where they do this like vodka Bloody Mary, but they use the celery lager with it instead, with like hunks of vegetables. Like, Ron, you love big old jalapeno and like candied bacon. Oh,
drink that.
Oh, it's so good. So good.
Okay, we're gonna do something that is hopefully very good. A few weeks back, I had taken my mom back home to see how the house in Clearwater did after Hurricane Milton. It did fine. It did great. Everything was good. But I was cleaning up the yard, and we were just doing various things. We decided to go out to lunch, and we went to a spot that didn't have any power, so they were running off generators. But we wanted to support them. And then went to the store. And as Mom was getting her prescriptions at the store, we kind of had to do a lap around. And I stopped by the beer cooler, and I saw this beer that I've never seen before. And it kind of caught my eye. And it's called the Other West Coast. And it's referring to the west coast of Florida, the Gulf Coast, which over the past month or two has been hit quite hard by Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton. So I thought, you know what, I definitely have to get this beer to support a brewery on the coast here, and a local Florida brewery. And there's still, a lot of areas in Florida that just need that support. And I'll tell you, when I went home, the week or two in between the two hurricanes, after that first one, I have never seen Clearwater Beach look the way that it did. From the flooding to trash on the side, it was horrible.
The amount of sand that was
roads closed. I've never seen closed before in my life. Weird. But the other coast, West Coast, is from a brewery that I have not heard of, and I really want to try it because it's just north of Tampa. It's called Escape Brewing Company in Trinity, Florida. I won't read you their whole kind of story, but you can go over to escapebrewingcompany.com. It's kind of fun, though. The founders, John and Matt, both started brewing in their garages as a way to escape from their corporate sales jobs. It didn't take long for them to figure out that their true passion was to make beer. What started off as a hobby quickly turned to a full obsession of beer. They both decided to escape corporate America, quit their day jobs, live the American dream, and open a brewery. I didn't know this brewery has been open since 2014. Opens its doors, so it's been open for quite a while now. Wow. And it's still open. So I definitely, which means that they're probably celebrating their 10-year here soon, if they haven't already. And again, it's in Trinity, Florida. I'll have to make my way out there. But this is the other coast, the other West Coast Indian Pale Ale, 7.1%. So we're going to end with the bang here, Ron. It's aggressively hopped with Centennial, Mosaic, Citra to create tropical fruit flavors, complemented by, I can never say this word, subtle? But it doesn't look like subtle.
SUBTLE.
Yeah, it doesn't look like subtle to me.
Oh.
Every time I see it, I don't want to say subtle. I want to say subtle. Subtle. Citrus and stone fruit notes. It just looks, it doesn't look the way that it sounds.
I love when we get the inner workings of Ferris's mind in this.
Yeah. And if you listen to this pod, you've heard me just stutter and go on. It's because my mind works so much faster than what my mouth can actually produce. Anyways, hops, Centennial, Mosaic, and Citra. It also won the gold medal in 2016 and 18 for best Florida, or at the best Florida beer competition in the India Pale Ale category.
Good snag.
That sounds a good one. I got to be honest, my honey beer, I've had to slow down on. It is so good, but the honey is sweet. So it's like, it's not a, at first I thought it would be a dangerous beer to pound, but it's not. It's turned into quite the sipper. Not in a bad way, but it's not what I can just chug.
I think I'm going to do this out of the can, Ron.
Feel free.
I just feel like, I don't know.
Cheers, my friend.
Cilantro. What's weird, this one looks like a Mexican lager. The color it should have kind of hurt, but much more sedimenty than obviously a lager, and looks very India Pale Ale-ish.
That's good. Oh, how smooth is that? Whew. Oh,
this is a quality IPA.
This is dangerous.
That is
7.1%. You'd be just cleaning the pool, drinking yourself into a stupor.
I'm jealous now.
Anything else? Citrus, Mosaic, and you're absolutely right. It has those like subtle citrus notes and stone fruit.
Proud of you.
For a tropical fruit flavor, because it certainly has that in a quality IPA, and you can definitely tell this is a like Florida IPA for just how it tastes. So well done, Escape Brewing. Heck yeah.
Subtle now is all I'm going to think in my head every time
Looks that way.
Every time I see it. Okay, but when I spell it in my head, I say subtle. Just like when I write the word Wednesday in my brain says Wednesday. That's
Oh yeah, I do that. I do that on Wednesday.
I always go D before the N or the M before the D.
Yeah, that's so it's always subtle in my brain.
There's got to be a joke. Is there an N before the D?
Right.
There's a joke there somewhere.
Yeah, there is. Ask
always
Chris Wood.
Chris Wood it is.
Yeah. All right, that brings us out of the half, ladies and gentlemen, as we move to the La Liga's roundup
playoffs.
So, we're doing pretty good on time, but we'll push through these as well, which will be a little difficult because there's much to discuss. But Ferris, why don't you take us away into the world of NWSL and its playoff situation?
Surely. The NWSL just did their decision weekend, not exactly the week, the decision day as other leagues call it. And it didn't quite surprise as much as we had talked on some of the last pods. Orlando beat Seattle Reign 3-2. They were already guaranteed top spot. So they kind of just went in, and they had lost twice before that, but it had won this, so kind of roll into the playoffs with a win. Spirit beat North Carolina, so they kind of retained their place. Bay FC beat the Houston Dash, which
kind of a surprise there.
Yeah, and it was a back and forth match. It looked like they weren't. That kept Bay FC in 8th place. I'm sorry, and that actually moved them up to 7th. Portland gained 6th spot as the day before they beat Angel City 3-0 in what was Christine Sinclair's last home regular season game for them, and they might not see her again at home, as that 6th seed for them may not have another home game. So how the table essentially ended is as such: Orlando Pride 1st, Washington Spirit 2nd, Gotham FC 3rd, Kansas City Current 4th, North Carolina Courage 5th, Portland Thorns 6th, Bay FC 7th, Chicago Red Stars in 8th. So Racing Louisville missed out because the Red Stars, because Bay FC and Portland both won. And I believe the Red Stars lost their game, but they had enough points. It's just kind of why they moved down to 8th.
Who was first again?
Orlando Pride.
Oh God, it sounds so good.
Right?
I love to hear it.
Good. So here's how the playoff bracket is going to align. Games are kicking off this Friday here in Orlando at 8 p.m. on Amazon Prime for the first game, and they will take on 8th seed Chicago Red Stars. They are still the Red Stars until next year. They'll be called the Stars.
What time is this game again?
I'm sorry?
Which is the game Saturday?
Friday.
Right.
Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time on Amazon Prime. And Chicago's not an easy first round. I mean, yes, they're in 8th, but they have Mel Swanson. They have Alyssa Nair. Schlegel, I think, plays for them. Not that Schlegel. So they have some players. We have beaten them here a few weeks back, maybe a month or so back, and it was not easy. So we'll see. But that's 1 versus 8.
And there was no Swanson in that match.
Yes, there was.
It
was Portland. There was no Smith.
Sophia Smith.
Yeah.
You got it.
Then that next day, on the 9th, that Saturday, 4th place, Kansas City, in Kansas City, take on North Carolina Courage. That's a hell of a match. That'll be a lot of fun. Both just big clubs that have just tore it up this year, and that should be a whole lot of fun. And then over on the other side of the bracket on Sunday, Washington Spirit take on Bay FC, and their expansion year and first year making the playoffs. How cool is that? Similar as the Pride, first playoff game ever hosted here for the Pride. Pretty cool. And then in the last game, the cup holders, the NWSL Cup, or whatever. Gotham FC take on Portland Thorns in New Jersey. So that is your bracket. If the Pride win, they will take on either Kansas City or North Carolina. If the Spirit win or Bay, then they will take on either Portland or Gotham. So it all kicks off this weekend in the NWSL. And real quick, last note, Christine Sinclair, as I mentioned, played her last regular season home match for Portland Thorns, where she's been for years and years and years. But she scored the first goal in this one, so that was awesome. And the Canadian legend ends with 100 club league goals and 259 appearances, as well as an outstanding 190 goals and 331 appearances for her home country of Canada over the course of her 24-year career in the game.
Absolute legend.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean,
what a player.
I remember watching her and Abby Wambach play against each other, and it was always like that race of who's gonna score more. Like,
she's still in the game. Wild.
So great.
Wild. Blake, who do you got between the Pride and Stars?
Come on, bro.
Ron?
You know.
Yep.
Pride.
Boom. Done. Kansas City and North Carolina.
I'm going to go North Carolina. They need some wins. I'd love to see them do well in this run, just not enough to beat Orlando.
Fair enough.
Kansas City.
I'll go North Carolina as well. Washington and Bay. Ron.
Washington.
Blake?
I think the Bay will do it.
Okay. I'm going to go with the Spirit because Hatch. She's just awesome. Last but not least, Portland Thorns and Gotham. I will take Portland with the upset. Blake?
I'll take Portland because we don't root for teams from New York.
Spit up my beer. I wasn't prepared for that. I'm like, since a win. Oh, okay. No, I'll get on board with that. But since I didn't know that was a thing. But okay.
I'm going with Gotham.
Okay. There we go.
That's good.
NWSL this weekend. Watch it. So much fun this year. So much fun. And playoffs. The next 3 weeks.
Yep. You got to love it.
Yep. Ron. Best league in the world with the best site name ever. Go ahead.
All right. So on to the quarterfinals, the second round of the MLS playoffs, right?
MLS.
Wrong.
Oh, seriously?
Nope. Well, for some. But did you remember, or did you guys forget that there is the ridiculous best of 3 in the first round of the MLS soccer.appletv.com/soccer playoffs?
No, look, is that getting them anything?
It's got to be a money grab. There's no other reason.
I remember because we won the first game and drew 0-0 in the second game, yet we're somehow playing a third game.
I know that. Well, yeah, exactly. I was confused on that front because, like, wait, there's no aggregate. But does this get them anything? Like, I don't see more buzz about it online. In fact, what I see is this conversation we're having right now about. We could just already be further into the playoffs right now. Like,
you know what would be awesome if their beloved team in Inter Miami, they have to play a third game. If they lose that.
That'd be so
Watch them change the rules to the playoffs next year, where it'll be one game and done because they won the first one.
Yep.
Watch them. Mark my words.
I've never pulled for Atlanta, but I'm.
Oh my God, you're right.
Kind of pulling for
thing
Atlanta
to say out loud, but I kind of want that to happen.
Oh,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'll never wear a Atlanta jersey, but I'll wear the Cherries jersey.
100%.
Right?
There you go.
That's close enough.
Ipso facto.
Yeah, it's like similar type colors.
Yeah. Anyway, here's the teams who have advanced to the next round of the MLS.soccer.appletv.playoffs. Seattle played against Houston, and they won in.
Of course, Seattle did.
In funny enough, they were draws for both, but went to pens, and Seattle
They won both. Yeah.
Makes
Makes a whole lot of sense.
Same thing. Minnesota versus RSL Real Salt Lake. Both of those were draws and went to pens. As the LA Galaxy moved through, they soundly crushed Colorado.
They whipped them.
In a 5-0 match and a 4-1 match. Ugh. The Red Bulls pull off the upset.
Yeah,
they send the reigning champions home in the first round of the best of 3.
Columbus Crew. Wow. And they are loaded too. I can't believe that. That's wild.
Yep. So now best of 3 games that are left to play.
But hold on real quick. But they won both of those games, right? It wasn't like they were draws and pens, if I'm not mistaken.
So the first one was a 1-0 win. The second one was a 2-2 draw.
Okay.
And then Red Bulls went through 5-4 on penalties.
Gotcha. Okay.
So your final game of the best of 3. Here we go. On the Western Conference, you have LAFC versus Vancouver Whitecaps.
I hope Vancouver pulls that off.
That would be so great. Then you have, excuse me. And then you have Cincinnati versus NYC FC.
So
a bit surprising there. That's going
just because we've watched a ton of worldly soccer leading up to this, and I even know like some things work differently now in the Champions League and stuff, but when you look at this Cincinnati NYC lineup, and game 1 is Cincinnati 1, NYC 0, and then the next match, Cincinnati gets 1 goal, NYC wins 3 with 3 goals. That the next match could be like 1-0 Cincinnati is so weird to look at the scores goal and not have that go to an aggregate. And I know I'm just used to it with other, but like,
what's weird with the Blake? It's the best of 3, man. Come on.
It's that thing again where they feel like, oh, we're doing soccer, but we just don't trust Americans. I think we have to try and finagle something in there that makes sense to Americans, but then they don't. Just do an effing playoff.
So, all right. So then it gets even better.
Or how about this? Forget the best of 3. Win or go home.
Go. That's what. Just
how it works. How it works. But how many games do you think they go to in the next round? Your option is best of 3, home and away, or a single game. Blake, go ahead.
It's just straight to single game at this point, isn't it?
Yeah. What? So we go from 3 games now to 1. We go back to it. So we play 1 game all throughout the season. You get in. We can't do we can't do a table and just list the person that wins at the end of the season. No, we got to do the playoffs. Okay, fine. Best of 3. So now you have to play another 3 matches in the playoffs. You make the playoffs and you have to play 3 matches. If you're a team like Atlanta and Vancouver, you're not playing 4 games to advance to the next round.
You said it. If LAFC and Miami both lose out, they'll want to change the rules for next year.
Oh, 100%. Just Miami alone. If they lose.
If Messi has to go home early?
Yes. Yeah. They will change it 100% next season.
So real quick, we have the last of the best of 3 matches. Miami versus Atlanta. Orlando versus Charlotte. Cincinnati versus NYCFC. So, Ferris, who do you got? Cincinnati, NYCFC. Cincinnati moving through. Mm-hmm. All right, Blake, who do you got?
Same here, Cincinnati.
Yeah, we'll go for the best of 3 on that.
Yeah, why not?
Right. Okay, Miami versus Atlanta. I mean, are we all Atlanta fans now?
Sure. Go Atlanta. I don't need Messi interrupting my movie I was trying to watch, pinging in the corner of my Apple TV. Can someone tell me how to cut that crap off? I want those notifications off when I'm watching my new Alien movie. It's pissing me off.
But do you guys notice that the Apple TV only gives you Inter Miami?
Always. Yep.
Like I never see RSL versus
Vancouver beat LA. You're like, what? No, you never see that.
Nope.
Infuriating. Messi's changing his shoelaces.
Right.
Well, I know he did that.
Messi's eating a bag of Lay's potato chips.
No kidding.
Yeah. All right. And the last one, Orlando versus Charlotte.
Our goalie hasn't given up a single goal this series yet. We're going into a 3rd game. Hopefully Orlando City. Yeah. Hopefully, but he might not give up he might give up 0 goals throughout the entire time, but we might lose in pens again. Right. And then we're out.
Yeah. But we'll need Schlegel to take the
goalie. God, one can only not hope for that to happen.
Blake, I'm assuming you're Orlando.
Come on, Orlando. Let's see Orlando and Orlando Pride be in the finals of both their respective leagues.
Friday and Saturday night here, by the way.
Yep.
So back-to-back nights.
Yeah. On the MLS soccer.messi.soccer.appletv.lays.messi.com website.
Lays.com. Yes.
Michelob Ultra.
Heineken.
Yes.
And that is your La Liga's roundup.
Man, every time we get into MLS playoffs, it just kind of deflates me a little bit because they can't. Why is it so hard? I think they thought, well, best of 3, we get more Messi playing. And it's going to be really funny as if you said, well, if you had just done a regular playoff, he might have played straight through.
Well, this is the 2nd year, right? This is the 2nd year of this.
Yes.
Because they announced it during the season last year.
Yeah, it was like they didn't know how it was going to be, right? And the season was about to start.
Second, 3rd month in.
Yeah. Who was the manager that was trashing that? Who had come out of Europe?
You know what, though? Maybe it was the infamous, the gracious, the amazing Zlatan Ibrahimovic that changed this whole system.
Oh,
guys, remember his quote? I think the system is How can you learn mentality if you only have 1 game to reach the playoffs? You just need to win the playoffs, and that's it. The results in each game are important, but here, if you come in 7th place, you make the playoffs and win, you're a champion. It's very difficult to create that mentality to be on your toes 24 hours. But I think it was Zlatan that changed this entire thing.
Hey, you know what you also really haven't brought up? The MLS might be switching to the calendar that Blake has been screaming about forever.
Yeah, but that one would take place until like 2028.
I know, but
if Messi says it, he
that's going to be. Yep.
He hasn't chimed in yet on it. Right. Once he does, then it'll be changing next season.
Once he, makes the MLS, Apple TV, Lay's, and Adidas kiss the ring,
and then has a Michelob Ultra.
That's going to be a very big special. We have to at least keep the Brewtiful Game running until then, because
100%, yeah.
And I'm going to go back and try to find every time I complained about it and make a super cut.
Once it's official that it's actually happening,
we're having a Mick Ultra on the pod.
No, we're not.
Okay. Whoever's sponsoring them at the time, it'll be something seltzer or who knows.
I'll drink a sour before I drink that.
He'll drink some more Hulk Hogan beer.
So what's the Mike's Hard Lemonade Table presented by MLS.
Mike's Hard Lemonade Community Shield, or not Community Shield, the Supporter Shield. Yeah.
Tap into a Slim Jim and watch as the table continues.
Damn it, that's funny. Oh, God. Well, that brings us to the end of this Brewtiful Game episode, ladies and gentlemen.
When the MLS playoffs run wild on you, brother.
You're going to play a best 3 out of 5 or 2 out of 4 or 1 out of 2. I don't know what's going to happen.
You do a best of 7 games. That's what everybody does in the playoffs here in the United States of America.
You sounded like Randy Savage and Richard Nixon just had a baby just then. It was like, come on, I'm coming for you, brother.
The best compliment you could have ever given me.
Oh my God, that was amazing.
Oh, this is 7.1%. I'll be damned.
Yeah, I can tell. Our beers the pod. Oh no, give me a second.
We'll do
you go yours first. I got to pull this side up against.
Let's teardrop as we're kind of crying now from laughing so hard. Mexican Lager from Tactical Brewing is much better in the brewery.
The other West Coast India Pale Ale from Escape Brewing Company in Tampa, Florida.
Trinity,
which is north of Tampa, is Tampa.
Sure, Hillsborough County. Why not?
And I'm having a Miodawi beer, honey beer, from the Kultawi Browarz Staropolski brewery in Poland from their PRL series.
Blake, if you have 4 more of those, you're going to say that name perfectly.
Flawlessly. Yeah, absolutely flawlessly at that point. Follow us on the Brewtiful Games. Just go to the website, brewtifulgame.com. You'll find where to find us. Find us on the Untapped. That's the more fun place. Ferris, you got a Zlatan quote for us?
I already said it to you.
Oh, you did.
The MLS is essentially what he was saying.
Well,
you quote that from him.
That there is an official Zlatan quote. You leave us a review, tell your friends and family about us, pass along the good word of the Brewtiful Game. Gents, we just wrapped up Halloween. My daughter was Elsa, and it was, I wish I could have been in the houses in this neighborhood that they knocked on the doors of, because I think I watched a horror movie in reverse. I would like to have been in the house to see what it looked like, because we have a cool neighborhood. The folks that way down the end of the cul-de-sac had like a was a potluck. We all came down. I brought the beers and stuff, and some guy made awesome chili, which is a good time. And it's like a gag of like 20 kids that are like age like kindergarten through like, I don't know, they're like 9 years old, somewhere in there. When it was, one dad was like making like wands out of bamboo thing, putting glowing lights in them and like magic potions. Like he went all out. He was doing his own like Harry Potter wand experience, but like garage style. Like it was a blast. And then it was like, all right, kids, get the big picture. We're all going to go trick or treating. And then I crap you not, I don't know, there's like 40 houses, 35 houses. I don't know. 20 kids mad dash sprinted as fast as they could from house to house, so that what should have taken an hour and a half was done in about 32 minutes. Halfway through, after she goes, I'm really tired. We're like, and she's like pulling off her Elsa wig and like, can you hold this? And I'm like, well, yeah, you guys, like, we don't have to go this so fast, so that literally they get to a door and knock on it, dun, 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 and then what I'm seeing, what I wish I could see from the inside, is the door would open and then just like 40 hands just go in. Say, trick or treat with like all these different costumes, and so it was insane. It was so crazy. And the parents got into my neighbor got. I mean, he looks like he stepped out of the movie Deadpool and Wolverine. His costume was amazing. His kid was female Beetlejuice, and I was like, oh my god, dude, that looks amazing. I had a costume, but it kind of got screwed up because I went to the Halloween store here. And I asked for a costume, but then they brought me out a Tottenham shirt. And I was so confused. And I was like, oh, no, wait. You misunderstand me. I said I wanted to look like a count. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening to the Brewtiful Game. Don't think too hard about it. It's Ron's favorite word.
I'd say we see you next Tuesday, but it's actually Wednesday. In the damn pod.
Oh my God. On that's a great end of the pod. Love the beer, cherish the game. The Brewtiful Game.